Was the Canadian Premier League's latest announcement really that major? Well, I'm going to talk to you in this episode about why it's actually a lot bigger than you may think, as well as what could be coming up next. Hey guys, it's Curtis here and you're watching A.F.C. Curtis, your home for all things Canadian Premier League news, notes, and of course opinion pieces just like this one. So if you want to see more content like this, maybe consider hitting that red subscribe button. Now, the big major announcement that dropped last Tuesday in Toronto was the Canadian Premier League announcing officially their first ever founding partner, as they're calling it, Volkswagen Canada, as well as the second part of the news was the inaugural match announcement, which is going to be Forge FC hosting York 9 FC in Hamilton on Saturday, April 27th. Now, because of speculation and overhype possibly by the Canadian Premier League community, and maybe even myself included, a little bit overhyped it, I think a lot of us were let down after the event and the announcement last Tuesday because we didn't get a full schedule announcement, which is what a lot of people were kind of hoping for and kind of speculated based off Commissioner David Klanaken's coming out a week or two prior to that and giving it a 7 to 10 day timeline of when we could see the schedule drop, as well as even a TV deal that we're all very anxiously waiting on. So because we didn't get a TV deal and because we didn't get the full schedule, I think a lot of people are not really happy with the major announcement last week. They're not saying it's not a major announcement, they're just saying it's just an announcement and why make up a big fuss about it. But I'm here to tell you why it's actually a lot bigger than it may actually seem. I think a lot of people need to start celebrating this deal and actually giving the Canadian Premier League some props, because I mean, Volkswagen Canada, that's no small fish in Canada or just in the automotive industry in general. I mean, this is a pretty big fish that the Canadian Premier League was able to rope in here as one of their first ever founding partners. And not only that, but having them, you know, come out as the first ever business associated with the Canadian Premier League. That's a pretty big deal. I mean, this is a brand new league that hasn't even started yet. So I mean, for them to get a huge business like Volkswagen to come in, a huge partnership with them, I mean, that's a very, very big deal, and I think that's a pretty brave deal by Volkswagen, to be honest with you, on their part, just because they don't know how well the Canadian Premier League will be, you know, perceived by Canadians or people abroad, just because they haven't even started yet. Now, if you look at what Volkswagen gets in the deal, they'll actually be getting quite a considerable amount here in this big deal, and that is their logo will be all over the 7 stadiums. They'll have their name mentioned in a lot of the broadcasts, I'm sure, in the future for TV deals. Like, they'll probably have a segment sponsored by Volkswagen sort of thing. And this is a pretty big deal for both, again, because the Canadian Premier League, now they look pretty major league now that they have a big brand like Volkswagen attached to it. And again, right off the bat, this is going to only help lure more big brands to come, because now they're going to say, oh, look, Canadian Premier League, they have Volkswagen on their team. Why can't, you know, why can't they partner with Canadian Tire or Tim Hortons and so on? And on top of all this too, Volkswagen will also have their logo as a shirt sponsor, or they will be a shirt sponsor for one of these 7 Canadian Premier League clubs, which again is a pretty big deal for that club, because, you know, they have a huge brand attached to that club now. That's a pretty big deal. Now, the second piece of news was the inaugural match announcement, which of course is Forge FC hosting York 9 FC in the quote-unquote 905 Derby, as they're calling it, the Canadian Premier League will be calling it here. And I was kind of hoping it would be Forge FC versus Valor FC, and I gave my reasonings on that in my video last week, so if you haven't seen it, I'll have a link for that in the description below. But I mean, this one makes sense. You know, there's 2 local clubs. The cost for travel wouldn't be huge. Plus, it's just down the road pretty much from the headquarters of the Canadian Premier League. So of course, you're going to have all the who's who, the commissioner and the president all coming down for that inaugural match, because it's a big deal. And I think a lot of people are underselling that just because, you know, it's kind of lumped in and it wasn't part of that huge schedule announcement everyone was hoping for. I mean, but at least we got an official start date now. It's not just a rumor that's April 27th. It's official. It's marked on the calendar. It's April 27th, 2019 here at 1 p.m. Eastern. And again, another interesting thing a lot of people are now discussing about that too is actually it starts a whole hour before Toronto FC's home match in Toronto against Portland Timbers of the MLS. So maybe that's a bit of a shot across the bow of the MLS saying, hey, you know, we're not scared of you. We're not scared of Toronto FC, you know, or any other MLS Canadian club. you know, but I feel at the same time that this is just a huge thing. It does state if you've signed up for season tickets, at least here in Valor, we've gotten packages and statements saying that this, most Canadian Premier League matches will be on either Friday evenings or early Saturday afternoons. So it fits that timeline that it's an early Saturday afternoon, and they wanted to start the league on a Saturday. So again, this only makes sense. I don't think that they're trying to start a war with the Canadian or with the MLS by any stretch of a means here. And I think that this is just something that they were going to be shooting for anyways. So just because it starts a whole hour before, I don't think there's really much of a huge coincidence. Yes, maybe there is a little bit of play here. They're trying to take some fans from Toronto FC and from York region to come over for the game and kind of take them away from the possibility of going to a TFC game. But again, I don't think that that was the major factor in this decision. Now, a lot of people were speculating that maybe we didn't get the full schedule because of the TV deal, and I think that's partly true. I don't think the TV deal is 100% done yet. I think it's very close to being done, and the reason why we haven't gotten the schedule yet is maybe because they're trying to fill out times and dates and maybe have to move a few things around a little bit because of that future TV deal. But on top of that too, if you do get season tickets, and it was kind of already out there for quite a while now, a couple months, at least for us here in Winnipeg with Valor, when you sign up for season tickets, you get a Q&A kind of sheet answering questions that you may have, and one of them is stating that the Canadian Premier League schedule will be released every February of every year. So that's why, you know, it's kind of, I mean, we kind of seen this coming, or at least we should have seen this coming, just because of those Q&A sheets, that the schedule won't be out really until February. That, yes, we got the home opener, which is great for Forge FC, but I think the next piece of news that they drop schedule wise is probably the announcement of all the home openers, and then maybe the full schedule, and then possibly the TV deal right before that full schedule, just so, you know, you can get everything ready and in line. But I do think that they're just finishing now the TV deal, and that should be released hopefully in the next week or two, along with the schedule by the end of February. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and let me know in the comment section below what companies do you want to see partner with the Canadian Premier League in 2019, as well as what network do you want to see Canadian Premier League soccer play on. Is it going to be TSN, Sportsnet? Let me know in the comment section below. And of course, if you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more content just like this, maybe consider hitting that red subscribe button. And of course, you can watch my videos each and every week, not just on my YouTube channel, but also on the northernstarting11.com. I'll have the link for that in the description below. But check it out. There's a bunch of great soccer podcasts that I highly recommend, like From the River, the Valor Peg podcast, as well as C2C podcast, and the Young Gaffers. So there's a bunch of great high-profile Canadian soccer podcasts right over there at northernstarting11.com. That's the place to go. And until next time, thank you for watching.